Welcome back to A New York State of Mind. Hi, I'm your host, Ralph Miranda. I'm along with our co-host and producer, Nathan Miranda. And this is a wrap-up show for the Texas Rangers series. The Yankees, remember, came out of the trade deadline last Thursday night, winning 3 out of 4 from Tampa at home. After the trade deadline ended, they went to Miami and got swept. We talked about that series. And then they went to Texas, and it looked like they were in danger of getting swept, but they salvaged the last game yesterday. And today they have a day off before heading back to the Bronx to face the Houston Astros. The Astros, as you know, the Astros seem to have the Yankees' number. Outside of last season when the Yankees swept them, if you remember, the Yankees swept the Astros the very first 4 games of the season, won all 4. That was probably the best that the Yankees have done against the Astros in, 3-4 years. I mean, the Astros, not only have they had the Yankees number in the regular season, but they've eliminated them at least 3 times in the postseason since 2017. So the Yankees, on their way back, or probably back home now in the Bronx, getting ready for the Houston series. And let's go over real quickly before we get into the standings and where we're going to go from here. Let's get into the Yankees schedule. As I said, they go back home now to play Houston for 3, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then they'll play the Twins for 3, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They'll have an off day on Thursday, August 14th. They'll head to St. Louis for 3, off day on Monday the 18th, head to Tampa for 2, and then come back home to face the Red Sox for 4, the Nationals for 3, and close out the month of August going to Chicago to play the White Sox for 4. These are crucial series coming up for the Yankees. And the reason I say that is if you take a look at the situation as it is right now, Toronto still leads the American League East. They're 68-48. The Red Sox now are in second place, 64-52, 4 games behind the Blue Jays. The Yankees are 6.5 games back, 6 in the loss column to Toronto. And remember, Toronto has the tiebreaker, so that's like being 7 games back. The Rays pretty much out of it. The Orioles definitely out of it. If you look at the wild card, thanks to that win yesterday, the Yankees are still holding on now to the third and final wild card spot. So we've talked about this before, but take it all in. 2 months ago, all right, a little over 2 months ago, the Yankees were in first place. They had an 8.5 game lead over the Blue Jays. They had a 12.5 game lead over the Red Sox. Talking about them not winning the division was farcical, and then talking about them being a wild card was unthinkable, and then talking about them possibly missing the playoffs was ridiculous. Now we're sitting here on August the 7th with the Yankees only 1.5 games ahead of the Guardians for that last playoff spot, and 1.5 ahead of the Rangers as well. So how things have changed, and we've talked about that ad nauseum, but these are crucial series coming up for the Yankees. I mean, the Astros right now are leading the West at 64-51. They only have a 2-game lead on the Mariners. So they're not going to be like lollygagging around when they play the Yankees. The Twins, I think, should be a fairly easy series. The Twins gutted their team at the trade deadline. Coming into Yankee Stadium, if the Yankees don't sweep the Twins, you can forget it. I'm sorry. I mean, you can just call it over right there. The Cardinals have slipped quite a bit. They're at 500 right now, in 4th place in the Central Division. And when you look at the wild card, the Cardinals are 5.5 games out. So that's not going to. The Cardinals are still a tough team, but we're not talking, a team that's really logically in the playoff hunt. But the key is going to be those series after that, the Red Sox series and the 2 games in Tampa. More so the 4 games at home against the Red Sox. But anyway, we won't get into all that. Let's look a little bit at the Texas series. So after suffering probably the greatest loss that I can remember, and we've talked about that against the Marlins on last Friday night, losing 13-12. a game that they had a 94%, 96%, and 97% chance of winning when they were up 6-0, 9-4, and then I believe it was 11-10 with one out in the ninth inning, or 12-10 with one out in the ninth inning. And they lost that game. Well, they kind of decided that they were going to do this all over again on Monday night against the Rangers. The Yankees, they went ahead, they fell behind. Giancarlo Stanton hit a 2-run home run to put them ahead 5-4. And the Yankees kept that 5-4 lead for quite some time with some pretty good pitching. Now, Max Fried was horrible Monday night. I talked about this in one of the shorts that I did a couple days ago. Fried was lights out before the All-Star break. In fact, I would say he was a co-favorite with Tarek Skubal to win the Cy Young Award. Since the All-Star break, remember he had that infamous blister on his finger in his last start before the All-Star break, and we haven't heard much about that, but something's wrong with him, okay? I don't know what it is. And if there is something wrong and he's not telling the Yankees, or if there's something wrong and the Yankees are trotting him out there, they need to fix it, they need to get him out of there because he's not been the same pitcher. His ERA now is 2.78, which is a great ERA, but when you compare it to the fact that his ERA was 1.9 before the All-Star break, he's giving up a whole nother run per 9 innings. But Monday night he was just horrible. He walked 3 batters, he struck out 7, gave up 4 runs, all of them earned, 8 hits in 5 innings of work. Just had no location command, none whatsoever. But the interesting thing after that was he left that game behind, I believe. Let's take a look at that real quickly. He pitched 5 innings, and yes, the Yankees were ahead after the 5th inning, 5-4. So he actually still stood a chance to win that game. So they bring Devin Williams in the 9th. And he gives up a home run to tie the game to Jock Peterson. And Jock Peterson, by the way, has not been able to hit his way out of a wet paper bag. But Williams struck out 1. He walked 1. Didn't walk any, but he struck out 1 and gave up that home run to tie the game. And this is a guy that can't get ahead of batters anymore. And he throws a slider down and in to Peterson. Well, you don't want to throw anything down and into a left-hander. I mean, that's like their wheelhouse. Peterson ties the game. We go to the 10th inning. We go to the 10th inning, and Jake Bird gives up a 3-run home run to end the game, basically, a walk-off home run. And we've talked about the Yankees sending Jake Bird down to AAA, which is something I talked about in one of my shorts. Here's the guy they got at the trade deadline. They're already sending him down to AAA. What does that tell you about the guy that they got, okay? So that was Monday night, another bad loss, not as bad as the one to Miami, but another bad loss. And then we get to Tuesday night, and the Yankees are facing Nathan Eovaldi. Nathan Eovaldi's been with a lot of teams. He was with the Yankees back in the mid 15, 16-ish time frame. But since he's 35 years old now, but he's become really one of the best pitchers in the American League. And he was unhittable against the Yankees, absolutely unhittable. He went 8 innings. He gave up 1 hit, no walks, 6 strikeouts. The Yankees could do nothing with him. So it's 0-0 in the 9th inning, and the Yankees bring in their favorite guy, Devin Williams. Now, here's the interesting thing that you got to think about here. Devin Williams ended up getting 2 outs that, and he walked 2 guys. He gave up 2 runs, both of them earned, and 2 hits. So he walks. This is the 9th inning. It's 0-0. He brings in Devin Williams after his debacle Monday night, which I question bringing him in. Okay, and previous to him, Warren had pitched 5 innings, only given up 3 hits, so he was matching Eovaldi pretty well. Doval, another guy, the guy they picked up from the Giants, pitched an inning. Gave up 2 hits, but got out of the inning. Weaver came in, pitched an inning, 2 hits, a hit, but 2 strikeouts. So then they bring Williams in. He walks 2, gives up a hit. Okay, and then the bases are loaded. So instead of pulling him out at that, I mean, it was obvious that you can't allow a run to get home, right? I mean, you just can't. Okay, So instead of going to Mark Leiter Jr., he stays with Williams. Williams gives up a hit, drives in 2 runs, ball game's over. Okay, or at that time, I think that might have been the 8th inning. But either way, the ball game's over at that point, and the Yankees lose 2-0. It's hard for me to fathom what goes on in Aaron Boone's mind from time to time. Devin Williams, let me step back a minute. Some people are not going to agree with this statement, okay? But it's different pitching in New York. Devin Williams was the closer for the Brewers before he came to the Yankees, okay? Now, he did give up a crushing home run to Pete Alonso in the playoffs last year, all right? I guess it was the wild card playoff round, when the Mets beat the Brewers. So that wasn't very good. But up till then, in the last 3 years, now this is 2022, 2023, and 2024, Devin Williams gave up 26 earned runs in those total in 3 years, okay? Total. He's already given up 26 with the Yankees this year, and the year's not over yet. So what does that tell you? I don't think Devin Williams is a bad pitcher, okay? And I have nothing against. I think he's a really good pitcher. But again, people may not agree with this, but some people can play in New York and some people can't play in New York, okay? We saw this with Sonny Gray a few years back. Sonny Gray just couldn't pitch in New York. But he's been great wherever he's been since then. He's doing excellent with the Cardinals right now. And I think you're seeing that a little bit with Devin Williams. And I think you see that with some hitters, but maybe not so much with. Look at Rodon. Rodon struggled 2 years ago. The fans hated him. He was no good. They got him from the White Sox. He was an all-star with the White Sox. He's come around now, but I think some guys can pitch in New York and some guys cannot. The media is triple, if not more, what it is at other places. Okay, and the fan base is more passionate. And remember, you're pitching for a franchise that has a history. 27 world championships, which, speaks for itself. So I think Devin Williams needs to sit down for a while, and when they decide to pitch him again, he needs to be a late game reliever. Okay, Devin Williams cannot be in high leverage situations anymore for the rest of this year. And then at the end of this year, the Yankees need to trade him and get something for him. And send him on his way and let him continue his career, and he'll probably do really well. The reason I say that is obvious, but the reason I also say it is because you look at the guy named David Bednar that they got from the Pirates. Closer for the Pirates, was an all-star this year. He had a rough outing Friday night in Miami, right? So all the guys they picked up did. But since then, he's been pretty sharp. And then let's take a look at yesterday's game. The Yankees won that game 3-2. Got to give my props to Paul Goldschmidt. I've been on him for quite a bit, but he did hit a home run in the 7th inning to give the Yankees the lead, 3-2. And he's actually done pretty. He was 3 for 5 with 3 hits and a home run Monday night, and then he hit that big home run, pinch hit home run yesterday. So the Yankees are up 3-2. And they go to the 8th inning. They go to the bottom of the 7th, bottom of the 8th, bottom of the 9th. Okay. So Rodon pitched 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 3 strikeouts, 4 walks. Again, he's not been quite as sharp as he was before. They brought in Mark Leiter in the 6th, clean inning. They bring in Tim Hill in the 7th. Hill gives up 1 hit, strikes out 1. They bring in De Los Santos, gets out of that inning. Also goes to the 8th and pitches 2 outs in the 8th, gives up only 1 walk. So right now you got your bullpen pitching pretty well right there. And then they bring in David Bednar. They bring him in with 2 outs, with 1 out in the 8th inning. He gets that out. Then they bring him to the 9th and he gets it all. Here was David Bednar's line for 1 2/3 innings yesterday. He gets the save, by the way, too. 1 hit, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. And watching him pitch was a totally different pitcher than I saw last Friday night in Miami. So David Bednar should be your closer right now, okay? It took him 1 game to adapt to New York, and now he's on target. Now, here's the key, though. When these guys joined the Yankees after last Thursday night, they've been on the road since. The Yankees come back now to the Bronx. How will they react in front of the home fans? Hopefully the same, but we'll see. Doval has been pitching pretty well after his last Friday night blow-up. So I think the Yankees may have salvaged some guys here, and I think Bednar is going to be your closer, along with Luke Weaver, if need be, for the balance of the season. So the Yankees win that game 3-2, a game that they desperately needed to win, because if they hadn't won that one, they would be on the outside of the wild card looking in. They still may be after August, but it's going to be hard. I mean, it's going to be really hard. If we take a look again at the standings, as I said, the Yankees. Here's another thing too there's no way the Yankees are going to win the division. Okay, I mean, those of you who think that they have a chance, I think you just need to take a look at what your thought process is, because remember when the Yankees played the Rockies a couple months ago. They scored a lot of runs one game. One game they could hardly score any runs. They actually lost a game to the Rockies and then ended up winning the third game. The Blue Jays absolutely demolished the Rockies over the weekend. Okay? I mean, absolutely demolished them. They beat the Rockies 15-1 on August 4th, which was Monday. They beat the Rockies 10-4 on Tuesday. And they beat the Rockies 20-1 yesterday. So this is a Blue Jay team. Remember we talked, I believe it was the last podcast, a Blue Jay team that has the fifth highest salary in the major leagues. No really gigantic names on that team. Maybe Vlad Guerrero Jr., George Springer, who's trying to resurrect his career after being with the Astros. The young man Bichette, Dante Bichette's son. But can you name anybody else on that team? I can't right now, unless I go back and look at when they played the Yankees. So they've got the most out of their salary. We talked about what the Yankees are doing with theirs. I'm not going to go over that again. So the Blue Jays absolutely pummeled 45 runs against the Rockies in 3 games. The Yankees, I think, scored 12 in one game, and after that, maybe 5 or 6. So that right there shows you the difference in these two teams. The Yankees are not going to win this division, okay? Now, the only question then becomes, are the Yankees going to be the last wild card, the second wild card, the first wild card, or out of the playoffs? Right now, the Red Sox are the first wild card. And I think the Blue Jays are going to win the division, okay? I don't think the Red Sox are going to catch them. So that means that you got the Red Sox, the Mariners right now are the second wild card, and the Yankees are the third. The Yankees are a game behind the Mariners, and they're 2.5 games behind the Red Sox. I don't believe they play the Mariners anymore of the Yankees, but they do play the Red Sox quite a bit. I think they still have maybe 7 games with the Red Sox. So you're going to have to win those games. I mean, they have got to win those games. And then you look at, and it really doesn't matter who these other teams play. Everybody's going to be playing games that are going to be significant. But I'm going to look right now at their schedule, the Yankees. They need to take 2 out of 3 from Houston, okay? Let's just mark this down right now. The Yankees are 61-54 right now, okay? So the Yankees are 61-54. They need to take 2 out of 3 from Houston. They need to sweep Minnesota. They absolutely have to sweep Minnesota. I'm sorry. They need to take at least 2 out of 3 from St. Louis. They need to beat Tampa in both those games in Tampa. They need to split the 4 with the Red Sox. They're not going to take 3 out of 4 from the Red Sox. They're not going to sweep. The Red Sox have really come on. And, why have they done it? I mean, this opens up another. You look at Brian Cashman and what he's done. They won't send Volpe down. They won't sit Wells down. They keep playing with the same guys that are not very good. They really don't bring up a lot of guys. They brought up Schlittler. That's about it. And then you look at what he did at the trade deadline. Look at the Red Sox. I mean, they've brought up 2 or 3 young guys. One of them was the number 1 prospect in baseball, okay? And now they're going to give him a long-term contract because he's playing so well. They got rid of Rafael Devers. Who would have thought they would have done that? Because he was a quote-unquote cancer on the team, all right? But the Yankees won't do that sort of thing. I digress. So they got to split with the Red Sox, okay? They got to go 2-2. They got to beat the Nationals all 3 games, and they got to 4 games with the Sox. They should beat them all 4. I'm going to say 3-1. So that would be 5, 7, 9, 11, 14. That'd be 17 and 2, 4, 17 and 5. That puts them at 78 and 59. Okay. If the Yankees do that going into September, I predict that they will be the lead wild card team. All right. They're not going to overtake the Blue Jays. It's just not going to happen. Okay. Unless the Blue Jays really tank it. But they need to do, if they could do that, I think they will be the number one wild card, and they will have a cushion in that wild card lead, okay, which will help them significantly. All right. So that's kind of where we're at right now. As far as players, you know, the same stories. You know, Stanton was 1 for 3 the first night, didn't play the second night because Judge came back, had a pinch hit the third night, didn't do much. Judge has not done much. He was 0 for 3 the first night with 2 strikeouts. He was 1 for 3 last night with a strikeout. McMahon is not hitting. Chisholm, you know, he was 1 for 4 the first night with a strikeout, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts the second night. So again, he's not really doing anything to speak of. Dominguez has been in a horrible slump the last 3 or 4 weeks. Bellinger, he was 2 for 4 the first night with an RBI, 0 for 3 the second night. So again, you're not really getting much offense out of the Yankees right now, and they need to correct that right away, given the schedule they've got coming up. So that's the wrap up for the Texas Rangers series. The Yankees now will have a day off today. They'll start a 3-game series with the Astros tomorrow night. And we'll come back with a wrap-up of that series after it's over. So for Nathan, our producer, I'm Ralph. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time on A New York State of Mind.